Tulsi Gabbard, who is part of our Sekulow broadcast team, is joining us now. We're representing right now a mom out in Nevada who spoke out at their school board meeting in Clark County, Nevada, because of what her daughter was forced to perform, which was this just really obscene, a lot of curse words, but really just obscene monologue that was not her choice. She didn't want to do. She's a teenager. And the mom came under attack at the school board meeting just for reading out the content of the monologue. They said that's too offensive. That's too obscene to read to the adults at the school board meeting. And then the way they treated the daughter, there's a lot of legal issues there. But now they're attacking this group, Moms for Liberty, and comparing them to women of the KKK.
Yeah, George, it's so crazy to see how this is playing out in such an extreme way. And the so-called woke radical activists and largely the Democratic Party, they're just turning a blind eye and they're not confronting the harm and the damage that's coming from this. The insanity of comparing Moms for Liberty, when you actually meet them and talk to them and listen to what they're fighting for, they're fighting for parents' rights to be able to raise their kids and make sure they're getting the education that they want them to get. They're fighting to protect their kids from being exposed to highly obscene and graphic sexual novels like Gender Queer. We've had hundreds of Muslim and Ethiopian Orthodox parents protesting in Maryland just recently, a few days ago, a Montgomery County Board of Education meeting, because the state of Maryland is trying to end a policy that says parents don't have a choice to opt their kids out of being forced to read these LGBTQ books in their classrooms. There are so many examples here. We've got kids who've written papers and posted about it on social media, how a girl, she wrote a paper and she referenced the biological female and biological male in her paper, and she got a failing grade because of her using that terminology. This is about parents and their ability to raise their kids and freedom and trying to end this sexual indoctrination of our kids.
I mean, it is just, it's so intense, the rhetoric, just for parents to speak out. I mean, I think it's more important than ever, as we always say, to an ACLJ. I mean, we've always pushed school board involvement, getting involved at the local level. The teachers' unions might not like it. The school might not like it. The left might not like it. And the people that are teaching this philosophy and this kind of more and more extreme as we go. And I think some of it, too, is parents are actually learning about what their kids have been taught. So they're waking up to that. And the best way to do it is to stay involved. Don't let them just demonize you and scare you away. If you speak out, if you gather and organize together, you can take over those school boards and really impact the curriculum and the education that our kids in America are going to have. Another issue, this one on censorship, Tulsi. So a district court out of Louisiana, judge out of Louisiana, issued an order prohibiting the Biden administration for contacting social media companies to and having them censor items that would fall under freedom of speech. So not criminal speech, not illegal speech, not terrorism. And the Biden administration has now appealed because they say it's a grave harm to them not to be able to tell the social media companies what they should and should not allow on their sites. And we know that the meeting they had to cancel most recently was on Wednesday, a State Department meeting with Meta, so that's Facebook, and their other companies. And that meeting's focus was not on terrorism. Tulsi, it was on the 2024 election. And they said it's a grave harm because they won't be able to tell social media companies what to do on the 2024 election.
Yeah, Jordan, the irony of this is they're actually being honest when they're saying it will cause them grave harm to not be able to control what we as voters are able to see and read and hear about on social media. The grave harm is that if we actually see the truth, if we actually get exposed to different perspectives and opinions, then we do pose a threat to their existence and their power. So for once, they're actually telling the truth on this one, that an empowered, free society of free-thinking Americans actually being able to cast votes based on real information and our ability to discern what is fact versus fiction poses a threat to them, which is why they are so concerned about being able to continue to control what we see and what we don't see, what they deem as information versus disinformation, and ultimately appointing themselves from being the sole arbiter of what is true and what is false. It just points to, again, how they see the American people as idiots. They think we're stupid. We can't think for ourselves, and they've got to control every aspect of it. The reason why they are so committed to this exertion of control is because they recognize their existence depends on it. We pose, an empowered people pose a threat to their power, and we should recognize that and hold on to that power.
Tulsi, as always, we appreciate your insight. Thanks for joining us.